It almost seems that every season of The Boys has been able to up the ante when it comes to its stakes and story. So when it came to the fourth season, I was hesitantly excited. But thankfully, this new season returned as if the show never left. And if you're expecting it to hold any punches, you'd be dead wrong. None of the action is stellar, but it's not trying to be, and it's still entertaining. Plus, there's a shot ripped straight from the second Matrix, and that does look pretty great. It doesn't start out with anything as raunchy as the start of season 3, but there's still some absolutely disgusting imagery and gore. Welcome to Sandwich Reviews. I'm the Talking Sentient Sandwich, and I can't get over MM's lack of facial hair. I mean, surely someone told the actor Laz Alonso that the beard was 90% of the look. But I guess over the course of these 3 episodes, I got used to it. Kinda. Though I can't deny how phenomenal the stakes are, I think my favorite aspect of this show is just how to the point the narrative is. All kinds of shows take forever to work up the courage to do whatever their purpose is that season. And by work up the courage, I mean the writers stretching out the storyline for as long as they can make it last. But nah, The Boys gets right into it, no milling around aimlessly or filler. And when there is something that people could consider filler, every second of that runtime is spent fleshing out the world and the characters that live within it. I didn't rewatch the first 3 seasons before the premiere of the 4th, mainly because I figured I'd remembered it all, but the recap Amazon put before it was much appreciated. I'm sure I would have recalled it all, but seeing all the important things from previous seasons along with the gore set me up nicely for what was to come. Just a well done previously on.
Previously on, grab it!
And of course, seeing the team back together was like meeting an old group of friends that you've gotten to know really well. There's still more to know about each and every one of these characters, and every season Frenchie seems to have some side adventure going on that I'm less interested in, but I was fully there for all of the fun dynamics. But the charisma between all of them absolutely steals the show. And that's saying a lot, because featured in this season, seemingly more than before, though I know if I went back I'd see that isn't true, is Homelander. Within the first few minutes, we see the big villain, and let me tell you, his introduction was everything. The rousing patriotic music building, only for the camera to turn around and show that he's going to the bathroom. Chef's kiss. And the way that tied into the whole storyline of him feeling his morality and attempting to combat that was amazing, as well as that just being a crude joke. And that's the best way to look at this show. It's raunchy, crude, and immature, but if you look past the gallons of blood and gore, there's a lot of intrigue and political drama, including some talk about politics that people would riot about if they understood the show enough to catch the messaging, which is fine by me, because the less bigots I have to interact with, the better. And if you're one of the fans of this show that, say, supports Homelander and thinks he's the protagonist, just turn it off and watch something else, because you're going to hate the obvious allegory that's becoming more and more on the nose by the minute. Though I can't help but love the way the show can highlight real-life stupidity and make fun of it. Though, on that note, I should say that the show may get a little too real at times. Although, if the showrunners and writers of The Boys aren't going to go there, who will? Because if you're a fan of gritty and mature superhero stories, and let's be real, if you are, you've already seen it, but Season 4's premiere of The Boys is definitely worth checking out, because it's just more of The Boys. And though there's plenty more to come with this new season, I want to get into the spoilers of what we've already seen, because to my surprise, there is a lot to talk about. I should have expected that Ryan would be a primary focus, holding the weight of what the future is going to be, not just within the writing, but within the future of the world this show is set in. And yet, when that came up, I was caught off guard, though that might have just been the cracks in the actor's puberty-riddled voice. Not that that's a bad thing, just an inevitability when it comes to filming over a long period with child actors. And seeing Homelander out of his costume was yet another thing that completely caught me off guard. We see him first in bed, and I thought that that was interesting, not just because it was the first time we'd seen him without it. It was just fascinating to see how much padding the suit had. Then, later on, we see him in street clothes, and that blew my mind. He's just not a character who's ever cared to have a secret identity, so to see him wear something normal just made it look like the actor showed on set and forgot to put on the costume. It's also not much of a spoiler, but there's a movie within the TV show featuring Will Ferrell as A-Train's life-saving coach, and that was perfectly filmed like a bad movie would be. I just really appreciated all of the production design that the showrunners put in the show. Moving on to something that's not quite a flaw, just something I couldn't help but notice. But of the superheroes, I'm not sure who is indestructible and who isn't. I assumed everyone with superpowers was slightly durable and strong, just as a standard for everyone. But then there's the super smart one who I'm pretty sure is as fragile as any other human. I don't know. But it was always explained beforehand whether or not the person they're going after is bulletproof or not. So it's not like that's too much of an issue. But speaking of, what is going on with that smart lady? She's definitely got her own thing going on, and that's not on Homelander's side. But what exactly is her plan? What's her end goal? And what was that skewer with blood on it? I also love how it's never told how there's a new Black Noir. Instead, it's given time for the viewer to continually question, how is he back? I mean, since he's wearing a mask, it's obvious that anyone can be under it, but it's not until the very end of the first episode where he speaks and reveals that he's just a random guy with super strength. There's a lot involved with him that the show could be doing and is more hinted at in the animated anthology series, but honestly, I'm not sure if the show is going to follow the comic or branch off, because they've already branched off a substantial amount. Including how it's hinted at that Butcher is seeing someone. I mean, it could have been hinted at for longer, but that was still a great way to introduce the concept rather than just going out swinging with it. Little additions like that really made the show feel lived in. Like Huey and Frenchie's C-plots, which I am typically not a fan of, but even though I mentioned I was less interested in Frenchie's side adventure, that doesn't mean that either were bad. In any other show, those plots would have been the most interesting aspects. It's just that The Boys is that good. But before I wrap up, I want to talk about one last thing, because those second-long commercial breaks were amazing. Not the actual commercials Amazon puts in, I hate those. It was the fake commercials for the fictional company Vought. They not only set up the future of what will come with short snippets of information, but there were some great jokes too. I mean, are you ready to get rid of your catheter and start living your lives? Absolutely killed me. Nevertheless, what do you think of the 3-episode premiere of this new season of The Boys? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe for weekly video essays and reviews, and enjoy a delicious sandwich.